tailor your proposal. We've been seeing them coming back where they're like, your past performance could have been stronger. You could have told us exactly how it aligns to our project, right? So you can't boilerplate these anymore. Multi-million-dollar contracts are not one with generic text. So you're going to need to directly address the agency's missions and needs, right, for this project. Provide clear step-by-step methods, use relevant past performance examples and show how they're relevant, and then show a real understanding of the requirement as you write it.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here again with Sarah from SAS-GPS, and today we're going to be talking about how to win more government contracts in 2026, especially the $1 million ones, right? There's been a lot of changes in this past year with government contracts, and Sarah leads our team, our proposal team actually, that has worked on thousands of bids. She's helped clients win over $45 billion in federal contracts. So we're going to be asking her specifically, right, what companies should actually do if they want to win bigger, higher value federal opportunities in 2026. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you again.
Hey, well, good to see you.
All righty. So, Sarah, let's get into it. First of all, right, like the question that we always get asked when we're talking about, future planning and stuff is, how do people find more opportunities? Or let me rephrase that. How do people find the right opportunities?
Okay, yeah. So that's a great question. Winning starts way before your proposal, all right? It starts with selecting the right opportunities, the right RFPs. So here's kind of what companies should focus on. Start, and I don't know how, I think we have like blogs, videos on this, but I say it every day. Please start with a strict eligibility check, right? Before anything else, confirm that you truly meet the requirements before you spend any more time reading this document at all, right? Do you have the right set aside? Do you have the past performance that's going to qualify, right? Are your NAICS codes aligned? Do you have the financial and staffing capability, key personnel qualifications, those kind of things? Bid, like bonds, do you have the bonding requirements? Like, check that you meet the requirements, and then go to the next step, right? So check strict eligibility checks, and you can go through them pretty fast then, especially if you're just like looking at like capacity, right? Do I have the bonding requirements, or do I have the past performance? Past performance is probably the biggest one. If you don't have the past performance, sorry, figure out how to get more past performance. So second, I would say watch for RFP red flags, right? So not every solicitation is a fair shot, and I see it a lot. It drives me crazy, especially the lower that you go down, I think, like more state and local levels. But be very cautious if you're seeing real short turnaround times, right, for a brand new requirement, or even for like a return requirement where you're like, only an incumbent could write their proposal that fast, right? Or vague evaluation criteria, requirements that would seem oddly specific to one provider, and it does happen, but these can signal that the incumbent is going to have an advantage, and that's going to narrow the competitive field and decrease your probability of win, like a lot. And it doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't bid, but you got to think strategically before you commit those major hours and cost that goes with putting together a proposal, right?
100%.
Yeah, and how much do you want to, like, pricing? Like, see if you can beat the incumbent, but they have more information than you, right? They've been doing it. That's my favorite though. We beat them, so don't not bid. Like, just maybe come get our help so that we can beat the pants off that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So another thing I would say to do is use federal forecasting tools for your early planning, right? You don't have to wait for that RFP to go into post RFP status and like hit sam.gov that way, right? You can use all kinds of different forecasting tools. Even just on SAM, they do put out pre-RFP market research, right? Things like that. There's a GSA forecasting opportunity tool if that's something that you can use. They basically like engage the agency, plan your teaming. If you're going to need some teaming, shape your solution, prepare capture materials, as much as you can do ahead of time before that thing. And sometimes they don't let you know. Sometimes something just drops, but a lot of times it doesn't. So it's good to kind of keep an eye on it. And we track things 10 years down the road, oh, we lost this one, we're going to get it next time. That's 10 years. Track it, Companies that plan ahead win more, and they submit stronger proposals. So, and then the last thing I would say is like focus on the agency's missions where you're strong and team where you need to. So federal spending is continuing to shift towards larger IDIQs, GWACs, and consolidation of vehicles. And if you're not on a key vehicle yet, Maybe partner with a prime that is on that key vehicle so that you have a path into those big dollar programs, right? Or figure out
Yep.
how and if you can get on that vehicle. And then go after opportunities where you have the relevant past performance, you understand that agency's mission, and you can realistically stand out in the field, right? And if you don't have that, find a teaming partner who can help you fill in that gap.
Yeah. No, 100%. No, that's very well put. All right. So now, you've identified that opportunity, you want to go after it, right? What makes a winning proposal now in 2026?
Yeah, well, a lot of the fundamentals from forever have not changed, but there are probably some expectations that are rising around quality and compliance. So here's what matters the most. Tailor your proposal. We've been seeing them coming back where they're like, your past performance could have been stronger. You could have told us exactly how it aligns to our project, right? So you can't boilerplate these anymore. Multi-million dollar contracts are not one with generic text. So you're going to need to directly address the agency's missions and needs, right, for this project. Provide clear step-by-step methods, use relevant past performance examples and show how they're relevant, and then show a real understanding of the requirement as you write it. Evaluators want credibility, clarity, and specificity, right? Specificity. Don't just say,
Yep.
yeah, we'll do that. Look, we've done it before. Like, no, say how you're going to do it. And then emphasize best value, not just low price. Like, you're going to know if it's an LPTA or a best value contract beforehand. But we do see, some continuation of restriction of LPTA for a lot of service contracts. As a result, best value trade-off is going to, kind of be important. It's dominant as a method for complex service work. I should add, not for goods. I do get calls for people who are like, well, is it best value? I'm like, a lot of times it's not for goods, right? Like, but for services, you're seeing like a lot of best value. So
Right.
remember, try to keep your prices competitive. Show why your approach reduces risk for the government and why you add value, right? And the performance and, hey, this is what makes us strong. This is what, you're going to get with us that you're not going to get from anybody else. Sell yourself, right? It's kind of like, I always tell people, it's marketing, but it's marketing in like the weirdest, driest government tech speak. It's a totally different marketing language, but it's still marketing, right?
Right.
And you don't have to be the cheapest per se, but you do need to be kind of close, but well, unless somebody is crazy, but you need to be reasonable. But you do need to present the best combination of quality and cost for sure. So your unique value propositions, I love the UVPs, show what sets you apart. Evaluators are going to look for meaningful differentiators. Do you have technical innovations? Do you have proven processes that have worked? And then KPIs, right? Quantitative data, not qualitative data, that proves that those processes work. Are your key personnel exceptional, right? Do you have strong quality control systems? Do you have documented efficiencies, right? Things like that. Don't assume that they're going to figure out your value. Well, like just based on like, oh, well, look, they've been a company for 20 years. That must mean that they have strong quality control systems. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And they aren't going to assume that. I'm not going to assume
Right.
that, right? So articulate, right? And then I guess the last, I always sort of like, well, two things. Pricing strategy, root your pricing strategy in reality, right? Price realism and GAO protests have recently been really reflecting people who protest if your pricing's not realistic, which is fair, right? Plus, you're going to get yourself in hot water if your pricing's not realistic.
Yeah.
So look at your prior award amounts if it's a recon or something similar. Labor rates in the market, incumbent pricing, right? Whether the procurement is best value or if it's cost sensitive, and then price it competitively. And then, once again, leverage your people and your past performance, right? Proposal evaluators want proof that you can deliver. So show them key personnel that have direct relevant experience that have delivered. Show past performance of similar size, scope, and complexity. And you'll see that exact phrase in most of your proposals, right? If it is not of similar size, scope, and complexity, find one that is, right? Pick the right
Yeah.
ones and then prove how they did it. And then keep those CPARs strong. Get your keep CPARs quotes, testimonials, all the things that prove that you did a good job ready. Basically say, the reviewers are going to look at it and go, oh, look, they did this before and they do it well. I think they're going to do it well for us, right?
Yeah, no, I think that, and obviously, if people aren't aware, right, every single video that we create also has a blog to it. We'll put the link below the video as well, too. So if you guys want to go ahead and read it, too, that's it's a lot of info, but we want to just give it to you guys so that, because I mean, again, we want you guys to win in 2026, right? All right, so let's talk about mid-sized companies or growing companies, right? If a business doesn't yet have a long federal track record, right, how can they still be competitive for these bigger contracts?
Okay. Well, they can be. It's common. But you have to be realistic. Um, Sometimes you're going to need to bridge a gap. So how you bridge a gap? You can team with experienced partners, right? Joint ventures, teaming agreements, maybe the mentor protege program. That one's really powerful because it kind of like lets you leverage your if you're a small business, it lets you leverage your mentor's capabilities and past performance. That's nice. Um, you could use subcontracting if they let you count your subcontractors' past performance, right? That's solid. Pick some good subcontractors that have relevant past performance, maybe some direct federal experience, and strong qualifications, right? That's good.
Right.
And if you like them, then you can continue to use them in the next proposals, and you have a nice like little partnership kind of going on. Highlight your key personnel, even if the company is new. A lot of times we do see the capacity in these, and we write to it to sort of talk about the key personnel's experience to kind of bolster the company's experience if the company doesn't have enough, right? The key personnel's experience can count. It certainly will build evaluator confidence. So if you need to bring in a subject matter expert or a consultant or key staff with a relevant history, I have 100% seen that work. I've seen a company hire somebody, lose one, hire somebody, win the next one with basically the same proposal, just that key personnel change, right?
Yeah.
So like that's always a good idea if you can. Demonstrate the financial and operational capacity of your company. If it's kind of new, right? Then you need to be able to prove that you have cash flow, credit, scalable infrastructure. That's a big one. I see a lot of people being like, I'm the only person in my company right now, and I'd like to win this giant bid. I'm like, well, nobody's going to think that that's scalable, right? Like you
Nope.
need to have some employees or something.
Yeah.
And then you need to prove that you have a solid financial management process too, right? That's going to alleviate risk. And risk alleviation is a big part of government contracting. And then if you can't win those like federal ones that you're looking at, right? Then pause, relook at your like plan, step down a little bit, get some more commercial jobs, get some state and local contracts, right? That can count as your past performance that are stepping stones. So maybe you don't get to go right from startup to multi-million dollar bids. Maybe you're gonna have to do some of the small ones so that you get some building blocks in there so that you kind of think of it like stair stepping or stepping stones,
Right.
moving yourself forward. And if the work, know what you're kind of aiming for. So get jobs that are similar in complexity to your goals, right? Or are situated around your goals. Don't just take like some random job, right? And draw the connections clearly between the jobs that you did and then the one that you're bidding.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that's amazing. All right. So let's move on to what can hurt a proposal, right? What are some common mistakes that you see people, and companies do sabotage a
I
bid,
saw I saw
in
this one
bid?
today. Not explaining your past performance, right? Not explaining your past performance. The evaluators didn't connect the dots. Luckily, they give this particular company the opportunity to connect the dots for them. They said, "Please give us like an add-on to your response." Right? Yeah. Woo. So still in the running. But don't forget to explain your past performance.
Right.
Unrealistic pricing. GAO decisions are clear. If you bid too low, to realistically retain your staff or deliver your work, they might question if you understand the project, right? And if you bid super high, then they're going to be like, yeah, thank you, no, right? So realistic pricing. Um, another big one is like just weak financial footing, right? If the agency thinks that you can't cash flow this project, right, you don't have strong financial systems, that's a red flag. Address that. Not disclose, not disclosing, I guess, since we're saying things that people do wrong, not disclosing potential conflicts or supply chain risks. You should talk about that. And you should have thought about that, right? Because if your
Yeah.
supply chain and right now we got all kinds of tariffs and all kinds of things moving around all the time. So you need to be thinking about supply chain, right? If you're just doing construction and you need steel, like you need to have a solid supply chain and you need to have a plan B on that too, right?
Yeah.
So and then talk about that because transparency is a lot better than omission. And if they see that you have a plan, like that again, risk, right? And then one of the biggest things, compliance errors, right? Some really simple things. make sure that your sam.gov thing's active, right? Make sure that it's active at the time of like them evaluating it. All certifications are accurate. All your required forms are submitted, right? And that you've just compliance checked this thing to death.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you think that you've done it, do it one more time. Do it by hand and then do it with AI and then do it by hand again. I
Yep.
get made fun of all the time because like they're like, oh, you're so into compliance. I'm like, well, yeah, I am. I work in government contracting and the name of the game is compliance. Stop making
Yep.
fun of me. So yeah, it's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah. No.
I'll take it
100%.
and I'll win.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we've been able to win. Hint $45 billion. So,
Hmm.
it is important to, again, it is really important that you're compliant with your stuff. Not nothing else matters, to be honest with you. Right. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and look ahead, Sarah. What are some trends or changes that you're seeing companies, look into government contracting now that we're, going into 2026?
Okay, so that's kind of hard. So I tried to think of some reliable ones for you.
Nice.
So verified sort of evidence-based trends that you should prepare for. Cybersecurity requirements are tightening, right? Especially if you work with the DoD. Their CMMC rollout and OMB CISA cyber directives basically mean stronger assessments, more zero trust requirements, and enforcements for accuracy. You need to be prepared to enforce these before proposal time. So think about your cybersecurity and make sure that, it kind of differs a little bit depending on the industry that you're in and the government agencies that you're working with. So check
Sure.
and make sure that you're compliant. Because it's gonna get stronger. It's not gonna be like somebody's gonna lay off of cybersecurity. Not in this day and age, no way.
Cool.
So remember that best value is remaining dominant, and LPTA does continue to decline, although it is out there. Federal acquisition policy has restricted LTPA for LPTA. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say it backwards again. It's fine. For years. Lowest price technically acceptable. For years, but for complex services, that's a big deal. Best value trade-offs are expected to, kind of be the norm.
Yeah.
Not always, but man, do I see problems when it's not. I'll like have such funny stories of people winning because they were lowest price technically acceptable and not being able to do the job, and then our our clients that got second place being able to come in and take that contract, 6 months
Yeah.
in when anything fails. Haha. Okay, so hence why best value is better, but compliance security is going to be increasing also. So there's been more protests, right? And we show a heightened analysis in those protests if you look at them on pricing realism, staffing feasibility, subcontractor payment practices. That's going to be a big. That's got some new presidential orders and things going in place on subcontractor payment. In your cyber certifications and domestic sourcing, like Buy America is getting, those are increasing, right? They're not
Right.
decreasing. So pay attention to all those sort of federal regulations because that's going to make a difference. Federal spending shifts are definitely shaping opportunity areas, and we're seeing just a lot in 2025, and I think we're going to continue to see that in 2026. Public budget projections, defense, cyber, IT, modernization, those are poised to grow. But some civilian agencies are going to see their budget tightening. As we know, some civilian agencies have been almost gutted, right? So you might want to align your business development to where you see funding increasing and not decreasing, at least for the next 3 years.
Right.
Or always pay attention to that, right? And then again, contracting through those IDIQs and GWACs are increasing. Contract vehicles are increasing. That's the requirement that was laid out back in February, right? They wanted to put everything on GSA, not feasible. But we are seeing things move over there, and we are seeing things moved over to SOUP and Oasis and things like that, especially in the IT area. Man, they
Right.
basically just upended everything in IT and moved it to a contract vehicle. So that consolidated spending is going into large vehicles, GWACs, IDIQs, prioritize those. Figure out how to get in them. We help people. You help yourself. I don't care, but you need to be figuring out how to get on those contract vehicles. And then shift towards AI. Everybody likes AI right now. And AI is just going to continue to with this like exponential growth, and agencies are piloting AI tools, but with human
Yep.
oversight. They're being responsible. So right now, I think they're being used to support some compliance checking and some document screening. But they obviously still have human oversight for their evaluations. They're also using it for like some market research and things like that.
Right.
I think what that really means for everybody is that you need to write clearly. You need to align with that RFP language and avoid ambiguity. Because you don't want to, like, if they do run something of yours through an AI machine, or right, like you don't want to give that thing hallucinations.
Yeah.
So it's just really about have good writing. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, no, 100%. Awesome. Well, yeah, that was excellent insight. And I think it's just like all this stuff is just, grounded in real data and, not speculating. Again, obviously things will change because things will change, right? But, we see these trends going into 2026 and moving forward. So, yeah. Sarah, I appreciate your time. I think that's a great place to wrap. If you want to just, give us a quick rundown of, like you talked about here, target the right opportunities, start early, bid compliant, well-structured proposals, price realistically, and stay ahead of cyber and compliance expectations, because with AI coming into the mix, that's not going anywhere, right? So yeah, so how can companies get help from us? How can we help them, win more government contracts in 2026?
Yeah. Well, we want to give you the expert support on your next major bid, right? We've helped clients win over 45 billion in government contracts. We write and manage proposals primarily. We also, especially the more that we work with the company, we do a lot of strategy. We can do pipeline. We can do a lot of things. But we really kind of start with an opportunity or an idea, a goal that you have, and we help you get there, right? We love to support people winning, people growing. Our sweet spot is small businesses, established small to medium businesses. If that's you and you need some help with proposal support, we love you. You'll love us.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you, Sarah. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you guys in the next video.